Hi, I'm Mary.
And I'm Katie, and this is The Housewife Did It.
Halloween edition.
Woo.
This is part 2 of 2025 Housewives of Horror. We are doing real life vampires. If you haven't watched yet, we have a bonus episode available on YouTube from Thursday that is the Who Put Bella in the Witch Elm case. In honor of our witchy trip to Salem. So if you get into this episode and you decide this is not for me, feel free to go back and watch that. So I do have a content warning, which I don't normally do. Content warnings, and I've explained, like, I
We
think
assume if you're here, yeah.
But I feel the need today. These murders are extremely graphic, and several of them happen to children. So I urge you to please listen with caution. I hated writing this case. I am not offended if you skip. But if you choose to stay, I invite you to turn this into a drinking game. And I hereby dare you to drink every time I say ejaculate. So have fun with that. We will start with real-time true crime. So, police in Austin, Texas have used DNA tests to make a breakthrough in the Texas yogurt shop murders. A man named Robert Eugene Brashers, who died by suicide in 1999, is who they believe is the killer now.
That's obviously the name of a serial killer.
Right. He died by shooting himself during an hours-long standoff with police at a motel in Kennett, Missouri. He has also been linked to crimes in South Carolina, Missouri, and Tennessee. In Memphis, he entered a home, bound and tied up 4 individuals, and raped a 14-year-old. She has, the woman who was a 14-year-old, she's not 14 anymore. She has now come forward and talked about, like, how she survived that attack. So very brave of her. And this seems to all have happened, like, kind of at the same time. So then in Missouri, he committed a double homicide.
I don't even hear nothing.
Oh, great. And then in Dyersburg, he shot a woman while attempting to enter her home. He was already the prime suspect in those crimes due to a DNA test that Memphis sent in 2016, but he was obviously already dead at that point. So, now they believe that he also committed the Texas yogurt shop murders.
Wow.
So, fun.
All
right. Are you ready?
No. Give us a really quick, very quick, how did you feel about the Ed Gein series?
Oh, it actually,
I haven't watched it yet,
so much. Yeah. We were talking about it at lunch today at school. It pissed me off, and I texted Katie this, and I said, every time a Monsters series comes out, I get so excited to watch it, and then I remember that something pissed me off the last time, and it's happened again. I won't tell you exactly what pissed me off if you're wanting to watch it, but this time so the Menendez brothers one, I stopped watching during the bottle episode of Eric's interview. It was pissing me off. I couldn't finish it. This one, I made it to the last episode, and the last episode pissed me the fuck off. I do, however, think I will watch the Lizzie Borden one, because I think Lizzie Borden is innocent, and I am intrigued by how they'll mess that story up. It's just like, there are so many untrue things.
Yeah, it's just giving, like, serial killer fanfic every time.
And, like, I've seen videos of people, like, crying over the final episode, and, like, about, like, how much they sympathize with Ed Gein, and I'm like, this is, like, actually ridiculous. Like, this man is not who Ryan Murphy has now created him to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, pissed me off.
Cool.
Hard watch, but
cool. All right.
Okay.
Now you can do this.
Thanks. Late in the summer of 1929, investigators in Cologne, is that how they pronounce the name of the city in Germany. It's spelled like Cologne, so I'm going to say Cologne. I feel like that's
Sure.
probably not how Germans pronounce it, but
Who knows? Cologne.
um they were dealing with a mass murderer that the national and international press had dubbed the Vampire of Dusseldorf.
Mm.
At the time, they believed it was possible they were looking for more than one killer, as the victims were very diverse and each was killed with different methods. So their suspect pool was huge. They had 900,000 names of possible murderers.
Why did they nickname him if everything was so different?
There were a couple scenes where he had drank blood from the
Okay.
victims. I also think that in like the 20s, in this like fairly small German town, like they're not getting a lot of like gruesome violent murders. So
Sure.
they kind of are
But if
attributing
they
it to
thought
the
it was
same person.
multiple, but you said they thought it was multiple people.
Yes, but
Maybe
I
the
think they
vampires of
yeah,
Dusseldorf.
I think they thought that they were multiple people like but working together.
Oh, okay.
They had received more than 13,000 tip letters from the public and 2,650 other clues.
Wow.
They interviewed 9,000 people, and they were obviously having trouble narrowing down their persons of interest.
Hmm.
On October 14th, 1929, police in Dusseldorf received an anonymous letter claiming to where the writer claimed to have murdered a girl looking for marriage and buried her in a field. He then drew a map describing where the remains could be found. On November 15th, the police located the remains of Maria Hahn in a cornfield. Maria had been raped, strangled, and repeatedly stabbed on August 11th. November 15th can't be right. I'm guessing I meant to write October 15th, which is the day after they received this letter.
Mm. How did they know it
And
was August 11th?
because uh that's when the killer said he did it.
Oh,
I
cool.
know it's August 11th.
Okay.
In November, a local communist newspaper received a similar letter and map leading to the body of 5-year-old Gertrude Alberman. In the letter, which had been received just 2 days after Gertrude had disappeared, the writer wrote that Gertrude's body could be found face down in an area filled with bricks and rubble. Gertrude had actually been found that day before the letter had been received, but she was found exactly as described in the letter. A graphologist later confirmed that both of these letters also matched a third letter that threatened further assaults. And
Mm.
this led police to finally conclude that they were, in fact, looking for only one perpetrator. So, here's who they're looking for. Um, on May 25th, 1913, so we're going back in time, a tavern in Mulheim am Rhein was burglarized. During the break-in, the burglar encountered a 9-year-old named Christine Klein. Christine was asleep in her bed when she was strangled, and her throat was slashed twice with a pocket knife. Blood had dropped from her bed onto the floor, and there it was mixed with ejaculate.
Mm.
2 months later, a very similar incident occurred during another burglary. The attacker entered a home in Dusseldorf with a skeleton key. He
Mm.
discovered 17-year-old Gertrude Franken asleep in her bed. She was strangled until blood spouted from her mouth, and once again, the blood found at the scene had been mixed with ejaculate. Gertrude,
I almost offered to do this case.
I know.
Thank God I didn't.
Gertrude did survive her attack, but the similarities were undeniable. Like they were okay, we're looking for the same person. For 16 years, no other murders of this kind occurred. But then, on February 3rd, 1929, a middle-aged woman named Apollonia Kuhn was attacked. She had been followed and a man pounced on her from a line of bushes. The attacker grabbed her by the lapels of her coat and shouted, "No row, don't scream." I don't know what no-ro means. Before dragging her into a nearby undergrowth. She was stabbed 24 times with a pair of sharpened scissors. Many of her stab wounds hit her bones, and there were chips in her bones, but somehow Apollonia survived the attack.
Mm-hmm. 24?
Mm-hmm. Just 6 days later, the body of 9-year-old Rosa Ollinger was found beneath a hedge. Rosa had been strangled and stabbed with a pair of scissors. She had been stabbed in the stomach, temple, genitals, and heart. The killer had ejaculated during the attack and then manually inserted his semen into Rosa's vagina.
For what reason?
Right.
That is not what vampires do.
Right. She was then dragged into the hedge area where she had been found and doused in kerosene and set on fire.
Oh my God.
5 days after that, the body of 45-year-old mechanic Rudolf Scheer was found in the suburb of Flingen Nord. He had been stabbed 20 times in the head, back, and eyes with a pair of scissors. Police connected these murders based on the location and time of death, as well as being stabbed with scissors, but they did find it odd that their killer had targeted such a diverse set of victims. So the first one we talked about was a young woman, and then a 9-year-old girl, and then a 45-year-old man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
between
that is.
March.
He actually is just a vampire.
Yeah. Between March and July, 4 more women were strangled.
They didn't find ejaculate near the man?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Maria Hahn, who's one of the victims they had received a letter about, had been on a date on the evening of August 11th with a man who must have been the last person to see her alive and was likely her killer. Her date, I know it's her date now, but he lured Maria into a meadow where he attacked her. She begged him to let her live, but he strangled her and stabbed her in the chest and head. He then cast her body aside and waited an hour for her to die before burying her in a cornfield.
Why? Why the patience?
I know. Well, because he jacking off, I guess. Early in the morning of August 21st, an 18-year-old girl, a 30-year-old man, and a 37-year-old woman were all stabbed with a knife in separate random attacks. All 3 survived but were seriously injured, and they all stated that their attacker had not spoken a word to them before they were stabbed. 3 days later, 2 foster sisters were attending a fair in the suburb of Flehe.
These are so fun.
I know. The 2 girls, 5 and 14 years old, were holding hands and walking out of the fairgrounds back toward their home. A man approached the girls and asked the older of the 2, Louise Linzen, if she would run an errand for him and get him a carton of cigarettes. He offered to give her 20 pfennig for her assistance. While she was gone, the man picked up the younger girl, Gertrude Hamacher, by her neck and strangled her. He then cut her throat and threw her body into a patch of buttered beans.
Is this a second Gertrude?
This is, I believe, a third Gertrude now. When Louise returned, yeah, like butterbean plants. When Louise returned from purchasing the cigarettes, the man partially strangled her and stabbed her in the chest, hitting her aorta. He then bit her and cut her throat, drinking blood from the wound. Louise's body was quickly found, and footprints leading to where she was laying indicated that she had attempted to run, but had not gotten very far before collapsing. The following day, 27-year-old Gertrude Schult survived a stabbing. A man had approached the housemaid and asked her to have sex with him, and she said no.
Cool.
He then shouted, "Well, die then," and stabbed her multiple times in the head, neck, shoulder, and back.
I thought he didn't talk.
He's only talked twice.
Mm.
Gertrude told police.
He only talks to the ones that survive. I guess multiple of them have survived.
No, because he talked to Maria, and she did not survive.
How do we know? He told us that he talked to her? Okay.
Gertrude told police that her attacker was likely around 40 years old. 40 years old,
He was
but she
4.
was. It came out like 40. But she was unable to get any defining features. In
Me, if someone
September,
asked me to provide a description to a sketch artist, I'm
yeah,
like, old man.
right. In September, 2 more people were attacked but survived. One had been strangled and one had been stabbed. On the evening of September 30th, a 31-year-old woman named Ida Reuter was attacked at Dusseldorf station. A man had approached her and asked her to go with him to a nearby cafe and then on a walk through the local Hofgarten near the Rhine River. When they got to the river, the man raped Ida, then repeatedly hit her in the head with a hammer, and then raped her again. She lost consciousness and then woke again and begged the man to spare her life, but he hit her with the hammer and raped her another time. On October 11th, a 22-year-old woman named Elizabeth Dorier was approached outside of a theater. Similarly to Ida, a man asked her to join him for a drink at the cafe. They took a train together to Grafenberg and then went for a walk along the Klein-Dussel River. At the river, the man struck Elizabeth on her right temple with a hammer and raped her. She was hit several more times on her head and specifically on both of her temples until her attacker believed she was dead. She was discovered at 6:30 a.m. the following morning in a coma and then died the day after that from her injuries.
It's interesting that he's like trying out
I know.
different strategies. Like once you've killed this many people, like you'd think you have like
I
a
know. He's like
tried
Richard
and true.
Ramirez.
Yeah. You'd think you'd have like a tried and true, like this always works method. I make sure they're dead.
Right.
But
Like that's the thing is like he waited an hour for Maria
mm-hmm.
Hahn to die. This woman he just walks off and she's
Yeah.
not dead until 2 days later. On October 25th, 2 more women were attacked with a hammer. During the second attack, the hammer was broken and both women survived. On November 7th, a man approached a 5-year-old girl named Gertrude Alberman in the Flingern district of Dusseldorf and she agreed to go with him to some deserted allotments nearby. Like I think that's like where they're building houses and stuff. He grabbed her by the throat and strangled her and stabbed her in the left temple with a pair of scissors. The girl collapsed to the ground and was then stabbed 34 more times in the temple and chest. Her body was then placed in a pile of nettles by a factory wall. And this is another one that they received a letter about.
Mm.
Between February and May of 1930, 10 people were attacked with a hammer or strangled. All of them survived, and their accounts were the first police got with a description of their suspect. On May 14th, a man approached 20-year-old Maria Budlick at Dusseldorf station. Maria explained to the man that she had been traveling from Cologne looking for a job and a place to live. This man offered to take Maria to a local hostel, but on the way there, Maria became uncomfortable with the fact that he seemed to be leading her through a nearly empty park.
Mm.
So she began to argue with him, and then a second man approached and asked if the original man was bothering her. Maria said he was, and the first man walked away. He said, fine. The second man then asked Maria if she would like to come to his apartment on Met Manor to have something to eat and drink. Maria told the man, I am not interested in having sex with you. And he said, okay, then I'll take you to a hotel. Instead, He lured her into the Grafenberg woods, where he raped her and attempted to strangle her. She began to scream, and the man let her run away. Maria did not report her assault to police, but instead wrote a letter to a friend confiding what had happened to her. However, she had addressed the letter incorrectly, and so it was opened by a post office clerk on May 19th, and he passed the note along to the Dusseldorf police. When the chief inspector read the letter, he initially felt it was unlikely that Maria's attacker was their serial murderer, but like a crime has occurred, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He reached out to her for an interview, and she told him what had happened to her. She also told him that she believed the only reason she had been released was because she had falsely told her attacker she didn't remember his address. Which she didn't go to his apartment, but he must have, I guess, told her his address when he invited her to the apartment.
He said, we are going to my apartment
Right.
at 1234 Dusseldorf Avenue, apartment 3.
Right. She agreed to lead the police back to her assailant's home at 71 Met Manor. The tenant wasn't home, but the landlady was, and she told police that that apartment belonged to a man named Peter Kurten. Peter Kurten had actually been at the home that day, but when he saw Maria Budlick and the chief inspector in the hallway, he turned around and left.
Skrr.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Peter Kurten.
I know a little bit about Peter Kurten.
Peter Kurten was born on May 26, 1883, in Molheim am Rhein, in Imperial Germany during the Second Reich.
Okay.
His family was in poverty and shared a one-bedroom apartment between two parents and 13 children, of which Peter was the oldest. Two of his siblings died at an early age, so now there's only 11 of them in the apartment. Peter's parents were alcoholics, and his father regularly beat both his wife and his children. When he was drunk, he would line the family up in front of him, order his wife to strip naked, and rape her in front of their children. Growing up in this type of environment, it is no wonder Peter began exhibiting signs of violence at an early age.
Where are his siblings?
In the one-bedroom apartment.
No, as they became adults, where are they? What did they get up to?
We only kind of follow one of them through this life.
Police, look into them.
Yeah. In 1888, at just 5 years old, Peter attempted to drown another child. 4 years after that, Peter began apprenticing a local dog catcher, helping the man torture and kill animals after catching them. During this time, Peter pushed a young boy from school off of a raft, knowing he was unable to swim. So he's 9. Another boy attempted to intervene, and Peter held both of their heads underwater until they stopped breathing. The authorities ruled both deaths accidental, but Peter admitted that he murdered them at 9. Peter was often the target of his father's physical abuse, being the eldest son. Because of this, he would sometimes refuse to come home from school. When Peter was 13, he got a girlfriend his age, and they're teenagers. They were experimenting with intimacy, but she was like very clear that she did not want to have sex with him. They're children. So instead, Peter began breaking into local stables and raping sheep, pigs, and goats. And then he realized he was more interested in killing the animals, so he would stab and slash them while raping them. He stopped when someone caught him. So he says. In 1897, Peter's father went to prison for 18 months for repeatedly raping his eldest daughter, who was 13 at the time. After his arrest, Peter's mother obtained a separation order, remarried, and relocated her family to Dusseldorf. Peter was remarked as an intelligent student, but he had trouble focusing in school due to his home life. He ran away multiple times, sometimes for days and sometimes for weeks. He also attempted to rape the sister his father had been sexually abusing. The same year that they moved to Dusseldorf, Peter left school and began an apprenticeship with a molder. And then after 2 years, he stole all of the money from that man's home, as well as 300 gold marks, and ran away for good.
Mm.
He went to Koblenz and began dating a sex worker, but quickly began sexually abusing her. He was found and arrested for breaking and entering and theft 4 weeks after robbing his employer and was sentenced to a month in prison. He was released in 1899, but in 1900 he was once again arrested for fraud. Attempted murder was added to his indictment for an attack on a girl using a firearm, and he was sentenced to serve 4 years in prison in Derendorf. After being released in 1904, Peter was drafted into the Imperial German Army and deployed to Metz in Lorraine. He quickly deserted and became an arsonist.
Mm.
He began setting fires in barns and haylofts and then watching
He's
from a
kind of got
distance.
it all.
I know. He's like a triple threat.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the life of a showgirl?
He's like, I'll drown them, I'll strangle them, I'll stab them, I'll firearm them, I'll arson them.
Yeah.
I'm really very versatile.
Yeah. He said he would watch from a distance as first responders attempted to extinguish the flames. He claimed to have committed around 24 acts of arson, hoping to burn sleeping tramps alive.
Oh.
He also said that he enjoyed not so much setting the fires, but watching people scramble to put them out.
Sure.
When
Which explains why, maybe even why he doesn't mind that some people make it out alive, because it's it's about the fear or
the chaos,
watching police try to figure it out. Explains the letters, all the stuff.
Yeah.
Weirdo. He just needs attention.
He really does. When Kurten was located after his desertion, he was tried by the military court and convicted of desertion, multiple counts of arson, robbery, and attempted robbery. He went to prison in 1905 in Munster. He spent most of his time in solitary confinement for insubordination. He underwent severe forms of discipline and claimed that because of these, he began to fantasize about lashing out at society and becoming a mass murderer.
This was the first time I had ever thought about violence.
Right. But also, my first murder was when I was 9.
Yeah.
He said that just thinking about killing masses of people caused him to spontaneously ejaculate. And that is embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it in your pants, bud.
Don't say that out loud.
Right. In 1921, Kurten moved to Altenburg to live with his sister. This is where he met a former sex worker turned candy store owner named Augusta Scharf, who had previously been convicted of murdering her fiancé by shooting him to death. A match made in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Kurten lied and told her he was a prisoner of war. After 2 years together, they got married. Kurten began working at a trades union. In 1925, he began 2 affairs.
Okay.
It's the quickness with which I caught it.
And that just sounded weird. Felt weird coming out of your mouth.
He started 2 affairs. One with a woman named Tide and one with a woman named Mech.
Cute.
Kurten, I hope those are their last names.
I don't know anything about German names, except apparently they're all Gertrude.
Right. Kurten admitted that in his marriage, he was unable to have sex with his wife without imagining inciting violence on other women. But he wants to make it clear he loves his wife.
I will not kill her, which is
Yeah.
why it kind of sucks for
Right.
me.
With both Tide and Mech, the women allegedly consented to partial strangulation and took on a more submissive role during sex. So that was good for him. However, when Augusta learned about her husband's infidelity, Tide reported Kurten to the police for seducing her outside of his marriage, and Mech claimed he had raped her. The rape charges were dropped, but Kurten was sentenced to 8 months in prison for attempted seduction and threatening her. That's
Augusta,
crazy.
it's the least of your worries, babe. Let him
Right.
cheat on you.
His sentence was reduced to
Run
6
away.
months. Yeah. His sentence was reduced to 6 months on the condition that he leave Dusseldorf upon his release. However, he appealed and won the ruling to relocate and was able to stay in the city.
You get exiled or deported for adultery?
Seduction? No, well, it was it was almost like a plea deal. Like he could get out of prison early if he left.
Cool.
After seeing police at his apartment with one of his victims, Kurten knew it was only a matter of time before he was found and brought to justice. He confessed to his wife that he had raped a woman and that he would likely receive 15 years of penal labor if found because of his previous convictions. So, his wife helped him find a place to stay in the Adlerstrabe district of Dusseldorf. He stayed there for a few days before returning home. When he got back, he confessed to his wife that he was the Vampire of Dusseldorf and encouraged her to turn him in and collect the reward offered for his capture.
Thank you.
Augusta Kurten called police the following day and told them that her husband had confessed to the serial murders and that he would confess to them too. Police followed Augusta to St. Rochus Church, where she was supposed to meet her husband, and Peter Kurten was finally arrested at gunpoint on the afternoon of May 23rd, 1930.
I was like, there's no way you meet this man at a church and he has not killed himself. But no. I was wrong.
Kurten quickly confessed. He admitted to all the murders police had credited to the Vampire of Dusseldorf, plus one other. Kurten claimed that the first murder he had committed in his adulthood had happened in November of 1899. He said he picked up an 18-year-old girl in the Alderstrabe and asked her to join him at the Hofgarten. I wrote, he said he had picked up an 18-year-old girl at the Alderstrabe and asked her to join up at the Hofgarten. He asked her to join oh my god! He asked her to join him at the Hofgarten. He claimed that the two had sex, and then he strangled the young woman until she was unconscious. He left her there, sure she was dead. However, since police had no record of anyone being killed in this place at this time in this manner, they believed the woman likely lived and just didn't report the crime. Kurten confessed to a total of 68 crimes, including 9 murders and 31 attempted murders.
Only 9?
I know. I feel like we've been, but because so many of them survived.
What a loser!
All of this and for what?
What a massive failure rate!
Like, literally.
That's insane! 31 attempted, 9. Does that include the 2 when he was 9? Or this is as his reign as the vampire?
Yeah, I think it's that.
And then what are the other 30?
I think because
some of them he just raped and didn't attempt to murder them?
There were 24 counts of arson that he admitted to.
Yes.
He was adamant that he had not tortured any of his child victims. Wrong. Then he, in great detail, is described how he tortured them. But okay.
Yeah.
He told investigators that he would achieve orgasm at the sight of blood. He also said that while strangling women, he would sometimes apologize and tell them that that was what love was all about. This is when he admitted to more vampiric activity.
Mm.
Kurten admitted during this time that he would drink blood from the throats, temples, and hands of his victims. During one murder, he said he drank so much blood from the woman's throat that he vomited. Which if you're a vampire, that wouldn't happen.
Mm-mm.
His bloodthirst went beyond his violent murder plots. He also told police that he very recently, like a few days ago, Reese had decapitated a swan so that he could drink from its neck, which, you guessed it, caused him to ejaculate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in our
I
last episode,
I don't I don't even know what I am wanting to say.
we're about to take a palate cleanser.
Okay. It's just
You
something
have
about
to
the
move from in front of my
vampirism
house.
that I was thinking. But now I
Well,
don't know.
that's what I'm about to get into as the palate cleanser. So
Okay.
maybe you'll have more thoughts after. In our last episode, we discussed the belief that vampires drink blood to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned since then that there are two types of vampirism: sanguine vampires who feast on the blood of others, and psychic vampires who feed on the energy and life source of others.
So they
We,
what, eat your soul?
yes, we talked about a sanguine vampire who said that he began drinking blood as a preteen after being a pretty sickly child, and that it has been the only thing he feels keeps him healthy. We also related this back to notable French figures who used to experiment with blood as skincare, thinking it helped them to stay useful. But for the Vampire of Dusseldorf, it is clear that drinking blood is a fetishized ritual.
Mm-hmm.
He needs it to help him get off, not to keep his iron levels up.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about that. Greco-Roman mythology contains stories of four different types of vampires. The Impusa is a shape-shifting woman with a leg made of copper or bronze. She was believed to be the daughter of Hecate, the goddess of magic, spells, the moon, the night, witchcraft, drugs, lights, and crossroads.
Nice.
Yeah, she got it all. Impusa was said to transform into a young woman, go into the bedrooms of men at night as they slept, seduce them, and then drink their blood once they were under her spell.
Cool.
When Dracula was written in 1897, it portrayed vampirism as both demonic and sexual, as a political statement on the Victorian era taboo of race, religion, gender, and sexuality. In 1931, Welsh psychoanalyst Ernest Jones asserted that vampires are a psychodynamic defense mechanism used by those who desire a reunion with lost loved ones.
So his first crime as an adult was 2 years after Bram Stoker's Dracula. Which also explains why they gave him that name. Like they saw
Right.
anything to do with blood and like serial murder and
Well, but they didn't give him that name until
after.
1929.
Oh. I mean, still, that's like fairly
Yeah,
new conceptually, I guess.
right. Um, Jones believes that after someone passes away, he says we may feel some level of unfinished business or strong emotions based in love, guilt, hate, any strong feeling. And in extreme cases, mourners may project the idea that their loved ones also wish to be reunited, and this is how they become undead. He implied that the desired reunion was often sexual in nature, but he said if the living is feeling some sort of guilt linked to their relationship to the dead, they may be expecting a more sadistic reunion. Jones claimed that blood-sucking was innately sexual and could be linked to the lore of incubi and succubi. So these are demons that take on a human form and seek to have intercourse with sleeping humans. Um, I believe this, I believe that a succubus is what, the, oh my God, why can't I think of her name? What Megan Fox plays in Jennifer's Body is like a succubus. Um, he, no, I already read that part. Oh, no, I didn't. He explained that in some cases, people who have repressed normal aspects of sexuality will become more expressive as they begin sexual exploration, often resulting in sadism or what he referred to as oral sadism or drinking blood. In 1998, neurologist Juan Gomez Alonso conducted a study examining the link between rabies and vampire folklore. He posed that rabies symptoms such as hypersensitivity to light, disruption of normal sleeping patterns, and hypersexuality could be attributed to vampiric characteristics.
That is what I was going to say when I couldn't remember what I was going to say. I was going to bring up the bloodborne pathogens again.
Oh, yeah.
I just do not
Well, I don't think they
understand.
believed in bloodborne pathogens in the 20s.
No, certainly not. But what I'm saying is I don't understand how people can go and drink the blood of 10s, 20s, 30s of people and there's not a bloodborne pathogen epidemic.
Well, because the sanguine vampires pick like 4 people.
Not this guy.
Right.
Because he's just a murderer. But still, how did he not end up with a bunch of bloodborne pathogens?
Right. Experts now say that literary and film works centered around vampires combine 2 key factors: sexuality and the dread of mortality. So, Peter Kurten is obviously in it for the sexual aspect. Kurten also presented the police with a lot of behind-the-scenes details of his crimes and the aftermath of each one. He told police that during the murder of Christine Klein, he ejaculated over the sound of her blood dripping onto the floor. Ew. Just dripping sounds.
They're like, honestly, again, we don't need any more.
And they're like giggling at him, probably. They're like,
no, they're like, you don't need to tell us this.
Yeah.
just not, did you do it? Yes.
Gross.
Okay. We don't need to know.
When describing the murder of Christine Klein, he said, quote, "It was on 25th May, 1913. I had been stealing, specializing in public bars or inns where the owners lived on the floor above. In a room above an inn at Cologne, Mulheim, I discovered a child of about 10 asleep. Her head was facing the window. I seized it with my left hand and strangled her for about a minute and a half. The child woke up and struggled, but lost consciousness. I had a small but sharp pocket knife with me, and I held the child's head and cut her throat. I heard the blood spurt and drip on the mat beside the bed. It spurted in an arch, right over my hand. The whole thing lasted about 3 minutes. Then I locked the door again and went back home to Dusseldorf." End quote.
I actually much prefer when serial killers are like, I've killed so many people I don't remember the details.
Right.
I'm good. Why do you remember all of this?
Right.
Peter.
He also told them that the day following Christine's murder, he went to a tavern in Cologne with the hopes of hearing the public reactions to the murder, and he was delighted to hear how other bar patrons reacted with disgust and outrage at the murder of a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously. In the weeks following the murder, he would constantly go back to Christine's grave, handle the soil, and ejaculate. From touching soil.
Because,
go to a fucking doctor.
Like, he thinks it's connected to her blood? Like, I don't understand.
I, literally, go to a fucking doctor, actually.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be ejaculating
a urologist and a psychiatrist, please.
Jesus Christ. 12-year-olds don't ejaculate this much.
Yeah.
Get it together.
Yeah.
Anyway. After killing Rudolf Scheer, Kurten returned to where his body had been left to talk to the police. When they asked him how he knew about the murder, he told them that he had heard about it via telephone. They said, okay, great.
They didn't ask who was on the other line.
Right.
Just the telephone told me.
Right. He told police how Maria Hahn and Ida Reuter had begged for their lives to be spared before they were killed, and he told them he spent a lot of time with Maria's body. So Kurten worried that if he left Maria to be found with the bloodstains, or if he had left Maria to be found and somebody had found her, that his wife might connect the dots between that and the bloodstains on his clothing and accuse him of murder, which is why he buried her in a cornfield. But, he said, he returned after a few weeks with the intention of nailing her body to a tree in a mock crucifixion to shock the public. However,
he just wanted to have enough, like, time from coming home with bloody clothes.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
As if they can't determine a time of death.
Mm-hmm.
If they can't see that this woman has been dead for
I guess
weeks.
His wife can't. Like, his wife isn't going to piece it together, which I guess is what he's worried about.
He said he's dumb. However, he found that her body was too heavy, and he returned her to her original grave.
He's weak.
He's weak, and he's
weak.
Ejaculating all the fucking time. Like, he's literally like in puberty his entire life, it sounds like. Before burying her again, he laid with her and held her body.
Honestly, he probably just laid down because he was tired.
But I also heard that he did digitally insert semen to her body as well.
Why? Yeah.
But then the people who said that were like, but he's not a necrophiliac. I was like, okay.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't know. He said he then returned to the scene of the murder and continuously adjusted her grave to his satisfaction. He just kept, like, moving her slightly, I guess. On April 13th, 1931, Peter Kurten went to trial in Dusseldorf.
Did he ever do anything else with his time?
No.
Cool.
He was charged with 9 counts of murder and 7 counts of attempted murder. He pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. The defense was so worried about Kurten being attacked by any of his victims' relatives that he had to be surrounded by a heavily guarded, shoulder-high iron cage that had been especially constructed for his trial. Although he wasn't on trial for arson, the judge, he got curious, I guess, and just asked, he said, why you start so many fires?
True.
And Peter Kurten's, I'm like, what? Why is this being brought up right now? He said, quote, when my desire for injuring people awoke, the love of setting fire to things awoke as well. The sight of the flames excited me, but above all, it was the excitement of the attempts to extinguish the fire and the agitation of those who saw their property being destroyed, end quote. A few days into the trial, Kurten decided he wanted to change his plea to guilty, saying, quote, I have no remorse. As to whether recollection of my deeds makes me feel ashamed, I will tell you that thinking back to all of the details is not at all unpleasant. I rather enjoy it. I have no conscience. Never
I feel like he's like, that's what a vampire would say.
Right. Never have I felt any misgiving in my soul. Never did I think to myself that what I did was bad, even though human society condemns it. My blood and the blood of my victims must be on the heads of my torturers. The punishments I have suffered have destroyed all my feelings as a human being. That was why I had no pity for my victims, end quote. He said,
it's not on me, fault.
It's on y'all.
And my dad.
The prosecution, so he said, like, I want to change my guilty plea, and his attorney said no.
He said what?
So, his attorney said he couldn't change his plea.
Oh.
The prosecution, so they went to trial. The prosecution introduced several experts who testified that Kurten was legally sane and in control of his actions and impulses at all times, probably because he just said he was.
Yeah.
His attorney, Alex Weiner, I'm certain that's not how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm going to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Argued that the range of perversion Kurten engaged in was evidence enough of his insanity, and then he implied that Kurten had fabricated some of the crimes. The police said he definitely over-exaggerated them, but they all happened.
Yeah, and also maybe we
Um,
should charge him according to the story he told.
right, he's saying it.
Yeah, whatever.
Um, the trial of Peter Kurten lasted 10 days, and on April 22nd, the jury went into a 2-hour deliberation. When they emerged, Kurten was found guilty of all charges and sentenced to death. And they got a quick turnaround time because on July 1st, 1931, Kurten was given his last meal, 2 helpings of Wiener Schnitzel, a bottle of white wine, and fried potatoes. On July 2nd, Kurten was beheaded via guillotine at
Great.
Klingelputz prison.
Klingleputz.
That's like the name of a cat. Uh, at
Klingleputz and
Klingelputz
boots.
prison in Cologne. He walked to the guillotine.
Jesus Christ. How drunk did this drinking game get you?
I haven't even finished this. He walked to the guillotine with a psychiatrist on one side and a priest on the other. When he got to the guillotine, he asked the psychiatrist, "After my head is chopped off, will I still be able to hear, at least for a minute, the sound of my own blood gushing from the stump of my neck? That would be the pleasure to end all pleasures." They said, "Do you have any final words?" And he said, "Nope."
They said, here? Here?
Fuck off. After his like that's honestly just like a stupid fucking question.
Here? What do you think your ears are connected to?
After his execution, Curtin's head was bisected and mummified. This is crazy. His brain was removed and sent off for forensic analysis to in any way explain his personality and behaviors, but no abnormalities were found.
No, they wanted to know if he was a real vampire.
His autopsy also proved mostly normal, with the only abnormality being an enlarged thymus gland. And my first thought is that what that sanguine vampire had sticking out the side of his throat? Is it because they be drinking blood?
Maybe.
Anyway.
Bloodborne pathogens.
Interviews with Kurten prior to his trial were part of the first psychological study of a sexual serial killer. Shortly after World War II, Kurten's head was sent to the United States, where it is now on display at the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum in Wisconsin.
Jesus Christ.
Like, what a fucking mockery. Like,
his bisected head.
It's insane. His bisected, mummified head is just in a glass case in Wisconsin.
The
fuck? That's crazy. So yeah, this guy's gross, obviously. I hated this.
Mm-hmm.
If you stuck around, I applaud you, honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah, but
no, thank you for the applause, I meant.
Crazy.
Because I stuck around.
And, what was I gonna say? Oh, and, go to Wisconsin, see homeboy's head. It's gross.
Yeah. Wow!
Crazy.
That concludes our vampires. I wonder if we'll find some vampire information when we're in Salem.
Are they known for vampires too?
No, but I bet there were some.
Yeah.
Okay. Good work. I hope everyone goes and pets a kitten or does something happy now.
Re-listens to our pop culture episode about the life of a showgirl.
Yes. That will be good. Okay. Bye. That wasn't